You are listening to Beyond the Verse, a StarCitizen podcast. A show dedicated to Cloud Imperium games, StarCitizen, and Squadron 42. Whether you fight, explore, unite, and/or trade, we bring you news, updates, interviews, reviews, and analysis. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a pour of Radagast, and join us as we go Beyond the Verse.
Launch sequence activated.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Beyond the Verse, StarCitizen podcast. I'm your host, Sulyce, and this is episode 126. We're going to break down the Frontier Fighters finale. We're going to react to the 432 featured Frontiers release, the Fractured Frontiers release. We're going to reflect a little bit on my hosting experience at CitizenCon Direct 2955, as well as some personal reactions. Because the last episode we had guests on and I wanted to have their opinions unbiased shared. So I will also kind of dive into some of those topics later. We're also going to cover the latest Roadmap Roundup, which came out October 22nd. We're going to quickly discuss the 2026 buyback token schedule, what that means for you, what even is a buyback token. And then we're also going to announce the winner of the Gray's Market Shiv giveaway. So a pretty fun-filled episode. We had to kind of fill in some time gaps because there's a lot of new information, but we are at the cusp of 4.4, which is the next patch coming right around the corner. So a lot to get into. Cannot wait to do so with you. So how's everybody doing? How are you doing in your car, at the gym, however you're listening or watching this podcast? Hopefully you're enjoying this Q4 season as much as I am. I got my Halloween outfit. I'm going to be a pirate this year. My son's going to be a parrot because I think those go together. Why not? Whereas my wife and my daughter are going to be versions of Taylor Swift. So different eras of Taylor Swift. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what that means, but they are enjoying themselves. And I think that's all that matters. But Halloween's right around the corner. And I did go a little deeper with my costume this year because there is a pirate night on the cruise we're going to in January. So spoiler alert, hopefully my kids don't all of a sudden start listening to my podcast. But we are going on a Disney cruise in January to celebrate yours truly's 40th birthday. So I know I'm a youngin' compared to some of you who listen with your wisdom and eldership. But yes, I am turning 40 in January. And so I'm kind of going a little bit larger scale on my costume. So I went out and got individual top and pants and got some accessories, which I usually just buy whatever's on the rack at Spirit Halloween. So we'll see how this one plays out. What are you going to be for Halloween? Do you even celebrate Halloween? I found out I have a lot of friends who don't even celebrate Halloween, which was culturally shocking for me. All right, before we get too far down in the podcast, I think a lot of people want to know if you are the winner of the Shiv and the CitizenCon Direct goodies pack. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, as always, I have taken the download from the website. So this is all, I think it was 325 entries. There were about 8 duplicates, email duplicates. So I just obviously want to make sure that everybody gets the same amount of chances. So that brought us down to 317. So a lot of interest coming right out of CitizenCon to get yourself a Shiv in the goodies pack for free. So I've removed the duplicates, I hid the columns that have doxing information, and I added the column alpha for the randomized number. So as always, I want you all to see how the soup is made, and I want no bias. I want no debate on if I do this fair or not. So here we go. Control C, Control P, so I'm pasting it as a value only so the numbers remain static. Let's go ahead and filter this guy out, and we're going to sort by the largest number. Here we go, and the winner is J Funk. J Funk, who is a member of our community, a Soul Provision. So congratulations, J Funk, on winning. So let's go ahead and highlight this guy, and let's go ahead and save it. So there you go. Congratulations, J Funk, for winning, again, the Gray's Market Shiv and the CitizenCon goodies pack. So I will pause. I will pause. I'm not going to go through every single thing from CitizenCon, but I do want to react to this stupid ship. Okay, so everybody who listens to this show knows I despise Drake, but only because we're 900 plus years in the future and we are still building with like duct tape. Like, I get it. There's ships for all, and Drake wants to celebrate their inclusivity and be affordable. But like, you're talking about flying in space. If you don't have the money to fly in space, you're probably staying on Earth. I don't know. Call me crazy. So I don't necessarily think that spending thousands and thousands, if not millions of dollars, fast forward, it probably would be millions of dollars 900 years in the future, on a Drake. That's literally the only reason. However, it's arguably the most flown manufacturer, or I fly Drake the most, which is crazy to me. So I get in the Rambler. I think the Rambler feels like a Jeep, which I drive in real life. So it's kind of fun to go camping in the Drake Rambler. I still can't get over the asymmetry of the Corsair. So that's my weird hang up I can't really get over. But the Drake Kraken is going to be an amazing capital ship, right? A frigate, landing pad to call ships from ASOP terminals. And that's going to be awesome. The Vulture is one of the best like solo workable ships. Like, so again, like, I don't necessarily hate Drake legitimately or sincerely. It's just like lore wise, like, why would you spend the money? Anyways, I say that because this stupid like Shiv, the Gray's Market Shiv, out Draked Drake. It is worse than Drake. And yet I freaking love this thing, and I'm mad at myself for liking it. It's ridiculous. Like the weird emotional drama that my mental like capacity goes through. But this thing is amazing. It flies well. It sounds well. It's a beast. Like, I've been able to hold off like 3 or 4 NPCs at some of these locations. The Frontier Fighters finale, the mission. So they're not necessarily difficult, but to be able to hold off, 3 or 4 NPCs in a quote unquote, I don't know what you'd call this, Shiv. It's the Swiss Army knife of ships, but it's also like lore wise very interesting because it's not only the Cutlass Black. So it's not only the Cutlass like interior, like its mainframe is the Cutlass, but it's made from parts of other manufacturers, which I just think is brilliant. I think the developers, the artists, like really enjoyed themselves in making this, in my opinion. It is an asset from Squadron 42, so they've been working on it for quite some time. But I do find this as a unique ship that the developers put their heart and soul into, that I just had to get. I had to get it for myself because of what it meant to the verse and to the builders. But here we go. So it's modded with Anvil Aerospace. So again, think the Cutlass Black made from parts of Anvil Aerospace and MISC. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I love the way it starts. Like when you start it up, first of all, it sounds amazing, but the HUD, like the screens that are in front of you, like the cycle of messaging that it goes through and the aesthetics and the cosmetics. It's just it's a great experience. So I wanted to show you all this in response to the winner. Again, J-Funk, congratulations. We're not going to go through every single one just yet. We might improv and throw in the Paladin and the Stinger, but we'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge later. So just wanted to celebrate that. All right. What else? We are still doing the Extra Life philanthropy. So I just want to make that announcement really quick. If you want to give to children's hospitals, we are doing that philanthropy. We're at $1,600 against a goal of $5,000. We more than likely will not hit that goal, but that is perfectly fine. This is the first year that we have set out any goal whatsoever for Extra Life. And the fact that we're at 1,600, it could end today and I would be completely happy. I literally threw out 5,000 because why not? When you're asked to make goals and I'm like, zero precedent, why not shoot high? So thank you for everybody who has given so far. And again, soft spot in my heart for children because I've got two of my own and I have a hard time watching some of those Extra Life videos. I won't do it on air because last time I did that during New World, I had a fun little moment with my co-host. A little bit of emotion, some raw reaction to Extra Life. So if you want that tearjerker, go to Extra Life's website, watch some of those videos, and you'll end up donating. So we are doing that. What else? I guess quickly. So hosting CitizenCon, you guys don't need to know like the ins and outs, and I don't even think that y'all would really find it that interesting. But if you are interested in like the deep dive on line by line, what was announced in the 2-hour CitizenCon Direct video, last week's episode 125, we featured Space Tomato and the Astropub. And so the three of us got together, had a great conversation. I will say from a podcaster purview, I hated that episode because we could not get the Astropub's volume correct. So if you go back and listen, you're going to hear me and Space Tomato are loud. So Keenan and I are very loud and Paul is super soft. And so here's a little bit of background on that. So what you're supposed to do, the professional advanced level podcaster will have each host record a local copy of their voice. So I would record kind of a broadcast, a mix of everybody as one channel. And then the next channel, it would be it'd be just my voice. And then I would receive copies from the co-hosts. Right. And then I would get into a program like Audacity or some of these other programs, and I would match on waveform, and I would make sure every track was optimized from like a compressor perspective. Now that's nerd talk. Again, some of y'all might not care, but I recorded because we haven't had an issue at 125 episodes. We have not had an issue, and it makes my life a little easier to just record and broadcast. Just record in the whole mix. I control it from a Go XLR that's on my desk. And usually that works. You compress, everything from a one channel perspective or a one track perspective. And again, I've had zero issues. I've had 4 people on at times, and it never is an issue. On my side, Paul was coming in loud and clear. But when I got to the post-production, he was very soft. And that is extremely difficult to get one person's voice on the louder side while not blowing out the other 2 co-hosts. So a little bit of background of like podcasting. Like I pride myself. I'm a self-proclaimed expert when it comes to audible control. I've studied like podcasting. I've studied recording voices and whatnot. So again, I pride myself on it. Just looking back at 125 was very, very frustrating for me as a quote unquote producer. So anyways, the content was amazing though. A great conversation, good people, go listen to it. But from a hosting perspective, y'all, I had an amazing time. It was an amazing time hosting. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I had a few individuals from Soul Provision that were there. So meeting individuals in person was a blessing. Good human beings. Again, had a great time, but it was very hectic. It was like one segment to the next segment. And if I had any downtime, it was talking with Tyler, the head of community for CIG. It was talking to him and figuring out like what needed to happen next, any pivots. We were giving away like 15 ships at some point, and he injected and was like, hey, here's some more ships to give away. So, throwing in those curveballs obviously threw us off a little bit, but we're masters at what we do. I say that with me in the Astropub, right? And again, we just had a really good time. It's kind of fun to see behind the curtain of a production, be part of the production, of course. But you leave exhausted and you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, what happened during the CitizenCon Direct? Right? From a 2-hour video that was pre-recorded, there was a total of 10 hours worth of things to do at this watch party. And so I had to rewatch the CitizenCon Direct, to be very honest. It was like, okay, what did they say about Nyx? I had to remind myself that like when Nyx comes out, there's no planets. It's literally just going to be Levski and maybe some asteroid locations or POIs, or places of interest. So like I had to remind myself that Genesis isn't really going to come out until next year. So yes, we are getting 4.4 in the next couple of weeks around IAE. We are getting Nyx. We're getting Levski. It's another place to explore. We're getting interstellar hauling, not to get ahead of ourselves because we will discuss the Roadmap Roundup. But we are getting some fun things, but we need to also keep ourselves grounded and remember what was discussed in CitizenCon Direct. Yes, we're getting Nyx, but don't expect a Pyro release. When Pyro released, yes, it's still not fully complete. We still don't have solar flares, like Roger. I get it. But at least when Pyro released, there were planets to explore. Just keep that in mind, that when Nyx comes out, there won't be planets to explore. It'll just be a mad rush into Levski. It's going to be crowded. Just get ready for that. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to respond necessarily to every line item. I've already said that. Let's actually get into this week in Star Citizen, talk about some semi-old news. Like I do want to get into the 432, the Fractured Frontiers release. I do want to get into that because again, 2 weeks ago or last week, we had guests on and didn't talk about the news. So I do want to go through 432. I do want to go through the Frontier Fighters finale, and then we'll get into some of the new stuff. So here we go. All right, first and foremost, here is This Week in Star Citizen. So hello, everyone. Last week welcomed Alpha 432 Fractured Frontiers to the live servers. This update introduces the mysterious Yormindi encounter, improvements to structural salvage, and the FPS tractor beam, 3 new ships, the Stinger Paladin and Shiv. You will also find new weapons, quality of life updates, plenty of bug fixes, and the start of Phase 1 of the Frontier Fighters finale, concluding the Pyro Must Burn storyline. Read the full patch notes and join the initial reconnaissance efforts. The Day of the Vara 2955 celebration continues across Stanton and beyond, featuring 2 community contests. There's a pumpkin decorating contest and a horror story contest. Players can also earn a Spectrum badge, take on the limited time kill collector mode in Arena Commander to unlock eerie Halloween masks and enjoy themed ship paints and other festivities through November 3rd. So we still have like a whole nother week of this, guys. It ends November 3rd. So there's still time to show off your creativity and claim a spooky reward. Our teams are also collecting your feedback on Alpha 432 while preparing for upcoming events and the eventual release of Alpha 440, which is expected to reach Evocati soon. Now let's see what's going on this week. Wednesday, we had the roadmap update. There's a maintenance window that was extended for a little bit, which is fine. But we still have some issues coming out of the live PU. So there you go. The issues, okay. Structural salvage, got an update, but we don't feel it. There's still some issues with salvaging. There's still issues with selling CMAT. So salvaging is kind of I'm not gonna say broken loop. There's just the payoff isn't there. So a lot of people are kind of sidelining, they're shelving, salvaging for the time being and really getting into the Frontier finale or the Frontier Fighters finale. So I don't know. I don't want to bog down on that too much. But there's still some issues like the whole sea. The whole sea still has cargo hauling issues, and yet we're expected to have interstellar hauling in 4.4. They need to get this shit right. They need to get the current whole sea ready, because outside of the whole sea, yes, you have the C2, yes, you have the Caterpillar, but there's not a lot of other options to truly make interstellar hauling worthwhile. So if you can't get the whole C right now, we're going to have some issues when 4.4 comes out. Don't want to be that guy. We got to be careful. We got to be careful with getting our hopes up and excited for the 4.4 launch. But until we talk, or before we talk about 4.4, let's go back in time to last week when Alpha 4.3.2 released. And so again, we quickly covered this, me, Keenan, and Paul, or me, Space Tomato, and the Astropub. We quickly addressed this because it did come out the day of our recording. So this is about a week old. We did go through this, but we didn't actually go line by line. So here we go. 4.3.2, we're wrapping up the Frontier Fighters events, which probably thankfully, because if you remember, this is where you selected your faction. You had the Citizens for Prosperity, you had the Headhunters, then you had the Frontier Fighters. And you had a choice between those three, and you ended up getting like completely sideswiped. If you were a Frontier Fighter, you found out that you were a terrorist and then had to choose your second faction to fall back on. They really haven't leaned into that whole faction reputation since, and it's just been kind of, hey, if you want to do a mission, you can just pick which team to do it for. And there's not been a lot of structure. So I think they attempted something really interesting at the beginning of the year, found out that there was issues with that whole concept, and we've gotten away from that. So honestly, it's probably good that we're wrapping this guy up, and we can start a new mission fresh. And so going into Nyx next year, they're kind of getting rid of this like the faction piece, and they're leaning more into this like science ASD mission. So we're going to forget about the Frontier Fighters and all the factions, and we're going to lean heavily into the, well, goodness, I guess it would be like Hathor, it'd be this Stormbreaker, it would be those science sites, the Worm and freaking Onyx facilities. All right, here we go. 4.3.2. So Amelia Boyd, really bad person. Shame on her. We're fighting her people. How's that for lore? Go check that out. The Astropub. So she's leading, the Frontier Fighters, and we're basically chasing the Frontier Fighters out. They're starting to show weakness, and we're going after whatever remnants are still there. So the Citizens for Prosperity are going after her and the Frontier Fighters. So are the Headhunters. You can pick which faction you're going to support, but at the end of the day, they're both kind of the same. You're collecting data pads for intel, and then you're also hunting like the leaders at each one of these locations, and you're taking their data pads. This is only the first phase. So here we go. Spoils of Justice. Here's phase 1 Recon. On the 28th of October, we're going to see the phase 2 Siege. And then at this current moment, I don't remember when phase 3 starts, but that is on one of the next tabs that we will cover. But I know October 28th is phase 2 Siege. And again, phase 3 Takedown. The items that you're going to receive is right here in front of you on the screen. So in phase 1, the recon missions, you're going to get a complete outfit of your chosen faction. You can do both. You can absolutely do both. You can do CFP and then Headhunters and get both of these items, right? So you don't have to like choose one at the sake of losing the other. So here's the outfit that is, okay, that's fine. Like whatever. Can't go in space with them because they don't have helmets. Phase 2, Siege. So you're going to have a new paint for the Grey Cat MTC of your chosen faction. So again, you're going to have more of a formal CFP, right? And then you're going to have like graffiti-ridden Headhunters, right? But I do like the Headhunters because it does change the glass. You've heard me say this before on earlier podcasts. I love when paints affect more than just the color, or more than just the like the hull of the ship. When it changes like the glass, I love that attention to detail. So you're gonna Headhunters, you have this black, gray, you're gonna have like a red tinted glass. Love it. Same thing for the phase 3 Takedown. You're gonna get Anvil Arrow and Crusader Spirit paints. Same color scheme as the Grey Cat MTCs, but obviously on these other two ships. And again, I love the Headhunters. I love the red glass, the black, like that's my color scheme. Love it. Okay. So, of course, 432 releases the Anvil Paladin, the Asperia Stinger, the Gray's Market Shiv. You've already heard my reactions about the Gray's Market Shiv. Anvil Paladin is solid. I absolutely love the Paladin. It is formidable as a solo ship, by all means, but it really shines when you are with a group of 4. I love the intimacy of having like the two, I guess the pilot and co-pilot up top, and then you've got the support crew members on the bottom, but they're kind of in the same room. They're separated, obviously one's on top, one's on the bottom, but they're separated by a ladder, so you still have to climb up and down the ladder. But I like the social aspect of being like all together. Usually ships will spread out, turret operators and crew members. This puts everybody in a very small, tight spot. But the rest of the ship is great. I love it. They say it's part of the same like family as the Valkyrie and the Asgard, which I can sort of see it, but this is a completely different frame, right? You don't have a drop garage in the back or a ramp to the garage in the back at all. It's a side entrance like the Terrapin. So think of the Terrapin. It's like what is that, port side? Starboard is right, port is left. I think that's right. So on the port side, sorry, still working through that. So on the port side, kind of towards the aft, you'll have a ramp that opens up. But when you get in there, it's great. Cosmetics are great. Looks beautiful. It's typical Anvil, kind of like the Asgard aesthetics on the inside. But I also really enjoy that there's cargo locations right at the stairs, right, to go up to the bridge. I kind of think RP, but it's not even RP. There's actually a legitimate reason for this. But if you have 4 people and you get ready for a mission and you tell each person, hey, bring your 1 SCU box of material, whether it's crews or whether it's more med pins or rad pins, food, whatever it is, right? You tell them to bring it. There's like a place for them to put it, and it's right by the stairs. It makes sense. It is a logical layout. So I'm really happy with the Anvil Paladin. I think it's worth the money, but it's still a very pretty penny. It's a very high price. And then we've got the love-hate for alien ships, the Asperia Stinger. For me, I'm okay with the alien aesthetics. It's not really my thing. I still kind of lean more towards like the human manufacturers, and I would say it's probably the majority of the community. It's not that the alien ships are ugly. I think they're phenomenal. I think they're beautiful, beautiful ships, and they all have personality and they sound amazing and all the things. I just I think more of like the Expanse. I think more of like Star Trek and Star Wars. Like when I think space and living in space and operating in space, my mind will just default to human craft. It's, again, nothing, there's no reason to dislike the alien ships. I have my preference. I think when the Bonnie Merchantman comes out, and I think when some of these larger scaled alien ships release, I think there's some play there. I love the animations as well. There's a very unique experience. They're very unique experiences. And I love the design and the creativity there. So like, for instance, the Asperia Stinger on the bottom where you see the like rib cage, like each one of those opens up like in a feather movement, and it reveals how you get into the ship. Like that is amazing with alien ships. I like the Prowler utility. Again, same reasons. It's just not something I would spend, 3 digits on. Again, Bonnie Merchantman, sure, I can see some major play with that. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but not these like heavy fighters, light fighters. But it does sound and look amazing. I took this out a few times to some of these Frontier Fighter finale locations. Beautiful, fast, deadly, all the things you would think and want in an alien ship. But if you know me and you've listened to a few of these podcasts and you're part of Supervision, you know that one of my necessities is a bed. Like, I love bed logging out in the verse. So I guess at the end of the day, does the Stinger have a bed? No. And that's, I guess, the true reason why I don't have one. All right, so let's move into the Spectrum side of the house. We're not done yet. There's more. There's more 432. Yeah, just quickly, there's a Deadlock patch bundle. You can still buy this, by the way. Again, it's only been out for a week. You can still get the Deadlock patch bundle. It does take the tack, the Starlancer tack, and it puts a kind of a camouflage paint on it. Makes the glass kind of a yellow color. But it's camo with highlights of like yellowish green. And you're going to see that same color scheme in the armor that comes with it. So let me just click on this real quick so we can get specific. The paint is called the Starlancer Deadlock paint, and you'll get 6 gear items as well. So the F55 Deadlock LMG, and then you've got the Palatino Deadlock armor set. So helmet, core, arms, leg, and backpack. So of course I got one. J-Funk, the winner from earlier in the podcast, now has one as well. And we also gave one away to our YouTube haulers. So let me just take a second real quick. If you want to support the podcast and what we do at Soul Provision and Beyond the Verse, become a YouTube member, become a hauler, or you can come in as a courier if you want to, but the hauler will be entered in a giveaway each month. And so if you want the chance to win a free ship or free items, this is just another opportunity for you to win new items. There's also like special YouTube, or not YouTube. There's also special Discord, channels where I'll go and respond to people there first before I go anywhere else. So there is some perks there as well. So feel free to support there, but you could have been entered in to win this. And so on the hauler side of things, Bravo 1 won. So congratulations to Bravo 1. Let's move on. So I think we have one more thing. This is the actual Frontier Fighters finale Spectrum page. Why do I feel like, no, we already did that. It's this one. There we go. I don't know why I had that up twice, or maybe I exited out the wrong thing. Anyways, here we go. Frontier Fighters finale. So there's some FAQs here. I'm trying to think of how I want to brief this, because I've already talked about the majority of this. There's 2 missions for CFP, 2 missions for headhunters. Both are like you're locating missing individuals and their data pads, and you're hunting like leaders who have these data pads stolen from your factions. So you're going to take care of those 4 missions essentially to get reputation or to get points towards the overall mission. You need 1,500 to close out the first phase, and then you move on to phase 2 on the 28th. So here we go. Here's the schedule. All right, what is the schedule of the event? Recon starts on October 16th. Or started on October 16th. Siege starts October 28th, and Takedown will start on November 6th. All right. So if I join late in the event, can I still participate? Yes, you can join in at any time before the event ends. Earlier phases remain available. I've been asked this so many times on social media. Earlier phases remain available until the end of the event. So if you join on November 5th, and you have 24 hours, you theoretically could do Recon, Siege, and Takedown in 24 hours and get everything. I would not recommend that, guys. I've been doing 1 or 2 missions a day because, I don't know, I'm busy and I have work and family, and I'm still at like 1,200. Like 1,200 out of 1,500 points. And so I still haven't even gotten my first mission, and I've been playing since the first day. So just be smart about that. Other than that, there's really no surprise here. There's no changes. If you've been doing these events all year long, there's no difference. You turn in the pads at your freight elevator, you get points, you move on. Once you get all 1,500 points, you just automatically get the items sent to your hangar. You do need to log fully out, like close the game out completely and log back in. Then you will find your items inside of your hangar. So don't expect it to just virtually appear. You've got to actually log out, log back in so it registers. So just expectation management there. But yeah, I've really enjoyed these events. Now I'm going to piss off the majority of people who are listening, because there have been issues with the data pads, and I want to acknowledge that. there are issues, like there always has been for this year, of turning in items on the freight elevator. I have yet to have an issue. So I don't know if it's where I'm at, what I'm doing, how I'm turning it in. I don't know. But again, I'm 12. I think I'm at like 1250. I'm at 1250 out of 1500 and not a single issue. So let me just tell you what I'm doing. I don't know why you're having issues. I don't know what is causing it. I sincerely don't. But I have not had an issue by doing the following. So number one, I'm in Crusader. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm in Crusader. Your missions will take you to either Yela or Daymar. Pretty decent planets. No issues really in those two planets, so maybe that helps. When you get there, be patient and wait for the markers. So if you're doing a missing person, they're going to give you like 5 locations to check out. Go to each location, but spend some time there. Like even when all the markers go away, don't move away from it until the next marker appears. So you'll go to like the second or third location. You'll see the markers go away. The mission will update, but you'll still have to wait a couple of seconds for the next mission marker to appear and say, okay, here is where the data pad is located. Don't just start picking up data pads. Wait until there's a yellow marker above the data pad that you actually need. When that happens, okay, go to it and just hit F. It'll be carry. You're going to actually carry and hold the data pad, and then hit I to go to your inventory and click and drag the data pad from your hands, like physically in your hands, into your backpack and leave it in your backpack. Don't move it. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Pretend it's not there. Leave it in your backpack. Make your way back to Seraphim Station. You go to Seraphim Station. This is super important. This is super, super important. Please, please, please listen. When you land at Seraphim Station, immediately go to your storage access kiosk. Do not go to the freight elevator. Don't do it. Bad things happen to good people. Go to the storage access kiosk. Open it up. Click the data pad from your backpack. Drag it into your storage access kiosk inventory. Don't touch it again. Leave it there. That'll be the last time you move shit. It'll be the last time you move it. I'm telling you, leave it there. Move out. Then you're going to go to the freight elevator. You're going to lower the freight elevator so it accesses your inventory. You're going to click on the data pad. Don't drag it. Don't drag it. Just click on the data pad and say move to elevator. So you're trying to minimize the physical move. There's always been a mismatch of the physical moves and the virtual allocation or the virtual location of things. So you're trying to minimize the physical moves. Click on the data pad, click move to elevator, lift up the elevator, goes to the animation. It'll appear, the data pad will appear on the back right corner of the elevator, but you're not touching it. In fact, you haven't even left the freight elevator kiosk. Don't do it. Just pretend like it's all working. And so virtually on the screen, it says that it's available. It's up, it's raised and it's on the platform. Just send the elevator right back down. So you haven't moved from the kiosk. Just send the elevator right back down. You'll get that prompt screen that says, is this for the mission? And we're going to turn this in for the mission, 1 out of 1. You're going to hit, yes, and you're going to send it right back down. End of mission. I have yet to have an issue. Try it. Try that and see if it helps. I don't know. You might still have issues. I'm just saying. Maybe it's the time of day that I'm playing. Play at 5 o'clock in the morning, like I do. Okay. I hope that's enough of 432. I wanted to give it its time on air. I wanted to make sure that we covered it. And I reacted to it. It's a great patch. I'm enjoying it. Again, I haven't tried anything outside of the Frontier Fighters finale, so I guess there's some fairness there. Well, what do you think? What are your overall thoughts on 432? Are you enjoying yourself? Have you uncovered some major issues that I haven't called out yet, outside of salvaging and cargo hauling and this RMC or the CMAT issues? I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment. Let's get into the Roadmap Roundup. All right, so now latest information. This dropped Wednesday, so 2 days ago. I'm going to read through it. I'm going to give kind of like a funny reaction that happened on social media. We're going to address that elephant in the room, and we're going to move on. So here we go. Roadmap update. We're going to skip 432 nonsense. We already know what happened. All right. Slated for 440. Okay. Before we get into this, the message of the day over in Spectrum for Evocati, that's where I get my information. It's like the first to receive, information, obviously, because it's Evocati. We are getting a tech preview for Evocati for engineering. That's this week, hopefully. Hopefully it's today and over the weekend. We'll see. And then a potential 440 Evocati test for next week. So we got 2 tests, a tech preview for engineering, and we have 440 for Evocati next week. So that happens. I guess I can just go ahead and address it. So it's funny. I made a post, and here's what happened. Message of the day comes out and says there's a tech preview later this week, and 440 will be in the hands of Evocati next week. And so my post was like 440 Nix to Evocati, ! Get excited, right? And I put, there's a tech preview for Evocati, and there is the 440 patch for Nix to Evocati in the next 2 weeks. And people got really, really mad. Like, I don't know, unjustifiably mad of like, the tech preview is not 440. The tech preview is not Nix. The tech preview is something else. Well, here's the deal. That wasn't an official announcement when the message of the day came out. No one knew, right? You had leaks from content creators who obsess over, likes and attention. You had leaks that I knew it was engineering, but I'm not about to participate in that crap. I'm not about to say, hey, let's get out in front of the CIG messaging and narrative and say, hey, it's engineering. So I left it vague. 440, the Nix patch, will be in the hands of Evocati for the tech preview this week and for the release or for the 440 testing for next week. Cool. It wasn't until hours later that CIG announced that tech preview was for engineering. Cool. Awesome. We're all excited. Let's be happy. But instead, people were like, they come back to the post and they were like, see, I told you it's not 440. It's not Nix. It's engineering. And I'm like, cool. Virtual high five. I hope you have a good day. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say about that? So it's funny. Like, I think the majority of people enjoy hearing like the latest and greatest information. And I'll give you that. Like, I will do my best to be the first, if not one of the first people to announce on socials, here's what's happening. Get excited. Hopium, copium, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not about to get in front of CIG's narrative. It's messaging. I'm not about to do it. I could care less about leaks. I could care less about, announcing things that just aren't official. I'll just leave it there. Right? Okay. Enough of the fun. Like, I don't know. I think it's a fun story. I think it's whatever. It is what it is. It's one of the byproducts of having social media and like leading a community analysis effort. News effort, whatever. All right, here we go. 440. This is roadmap update. This is what's officially being considered for 440. I will highlight this is 440 and not 44X. 44X is like, here's what's slated for the overall chapter, but we really don't know when it's coming. 440 is committing that when this comes out in 2-3 weeks around IAE, you will be seeing this. It is tentative, but you will see these things. All right, we got new Wicklow ship offerings for the RSI Meteor, the Guardian MX, with upgraded components and a unique base livery. Usually these are like just the tan color version of the ships. It's fine. We have a shotgun pistol called Triple Down. We have a missile launcher called the Boom Tube, which was hilarious to see during CitizenCon Direct. That's going to be fun. Here's your interstellar hauling missions. I will believe that when I see that because, again, the whole sea is broken AF. Exterior freight elevators, adding new ways of loading and unloading cargo in Nix and Pyro using exterior freight elevators. All right, we have a Nyx Missions Pack 1. It's adding a first pack of missions to Nyx, including existing archetypes, with a fresh new narrative spin against new enemies. We have the Nyx Jump Points, the Vandal NPC pilots, Sworn Enemies, implementing a new operation welcoming players to Nyx. This is Intersec is looking for contractors willing to investigate abandoned QV logistics stations to follow the trail of Vandal tech that was sold to ASD. Then we got the Nyx system, obviously. We have the Glacium Ring, which is part of the Nyx system, Delamar, Levski, QV services stations, right? These are our points of interest, POIs, points of interest around the system. Then you've got medium battle tech armor, so adding a new medium battle tech armor. I was really hoping they would actually say the names here, so I just repeated myself. We have the Wicklow medium battle tech armor. I have seen the leak here. I'm not going to get into it. It looks cool. It looks very Predator. So think Predator from Aliens and Predator. Aliens vs. Predator. So just think that. I think it looks pretty cool. And we have some new hairstyles yet again. So adding one additional hairstyle and 11 new facial hair customization for your character. So this is a doozy. This is a big one. And I'm going to venture. I'm going to go out and I'm going to predict that this will probably be one of the last patches, if not the last patch of 2025. Because again, there's a significant amount of content here, and I guess we are slated for like mid-November. So it only gives us like a month and a half, really a month, because CIG will go dark around like the end part of December into January. So this will more than likely be the final patch. So it's good that they're kind of letting us have a whole new system to semi-play around in, and then kind of taking a step out for their usual vacation or holiday season. So what do you think about 440? I think there's a lot here, and I want to keep my own expectations like leveled. I'm going to do that to myself. I'm going to try not to like kill hopes and dreams here on the podcast, but I want to be very protective of my expectations, knowing that it's a brand new system with brand new, I'm going to call it tech. It's not really tech, but brand new missions, game loops. Okay. All right. Let's get into like the last. Well, here's one more roadmap roundup. I think here's the Spectrum version of it. Yeah, there's not really. Oh yeah, the armor. Okay, I'm really glad I checked this. Okay, so it isn't leaked. It isn't leaked at all. So this is the first medium battle armor. So I don't know. I don't necessarily like the little skirt that's here. So I don't know. I think that's enough for me to just really not like it at all. Sorry. But this is the new armor. It's medium, so you're gonna be squishy, more squishy than you should be during like contested zones and some of these Nyx missions. So just be mindful as you go to battle in a medium armor set. But I don't know. This feels like a jock strap. It feels like you're wearing a jock strap outside of your pants. Not a good design choice in my opinion. So let's go to the Wicklow version. Significantly better, right? Like this actually looks very much futuristic. Yeah, I guess futuristic. And I guess the more I'm thinking about it, the more I look at it, like I was thinking Predator because like the back here, like the braids that are in the back of the helmet, which is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm also curious if they move, if they flow like hair does, or if they're static. It'd be really cool if they flow like hair does. That'd be really cool to have that on a helmet. I think that'd be a first that we would see hair moving attached to a helmet. I think. I don't know. But anyways, now the more I look at this, it's also Loki from like Marvel. It kind of has like a Loki vibe as well. I don't know. I actually really like this though. I like the color scheme. I like the highlights, like the green emerald, like highlights against the gold. Looks really good. But I'm really glad I looked at this, and then here we go. Here are the new. I think this is the one hairstyle. Yeah, this is the one new hairstyle, and then you've got the facial hair here. So another beard. So this is a good happy medium from what currently exists. So what currently exists is like the full beard that goes down to like upper chest. And this has like a gentleman's beard. It's a little bit shorter. Then you've got the Magnificent Seven, little cowboy mustache with a goatee. the Amish beard that comes at, you do you choose your options. But I'm really happy that they continue to add to the facial features every single patch. I feel like every patch they're giving us, new content. All right, real quick. Let's wrap this one up before we get into the comment section. Let's wrap this one up by talking about the buyback token schedule. So here we go. In 2026, your Q1 will be January 5th. So you'll have your 2 buyback tokens distributed to your account on January 5th. Then you've got on Q2 will be April 6th. And in Q3 it will be July 6th. And then in Q4, October 5th. Okay. So what are buybacks? All right. So first off, in that Spectrum post, there'll be a link where you can find the source of truth. By all means, here, let me just show you. Sorry. So you can find more about this process on our knowledge base article here. So click on that link and it'll take you to this buyback tool. It'll tell you everything you want to know about the buyback. Okay. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of what you can and cannot buy back. Go to this source of truth to really know the differences. But high level. So high level, this is what a buyback token is. At any point, you can go to your buyback. So when you melt a ship, let's say your first ship ever was a Cutlass Black. You spent $120 on the Cutlass Black and you're like, you know what? I could use $120 towards another ship. So rather than ship upgrade, you end up melting it. This is just one example. I'm not saying you should. You melt it to get $120 of store credits, and then you tack on, some more money to get a $200 ship. You buy, you buy the Shiv, you fly it around for a couple of days and you're like, you know what? I don't really like the ship. So I'm going to melt it. I'm going to melt it and get $150 back in store credit. And that just sits in store credit. Fast forward a year, 2 years later, you're like, you know what? I really miss the Shiv. I really miss the Cutlass Black. I want to buy it back. So you can go to your hangar, your pledge store hangar, and you can go to buybacks and you can pick up the exact same ship. So if that Cutlass Black had lifetime insurance, but 2 years later it only has 6-month insurance, and you're like, damn, I wish I could buy back my lifetime insurance. You can go to your buybacks and you can purchase it back, but you have to spend new money on it. This is where my brain starts freaking out. Yeah. You have to spend new money on it. So it's you can buy it back, but you cannot use your store credit on it. So if you want to use your store credit for buybacks, you get tokens that, let me just read it to you. I'm done. I'm done. Here we go. When a pledge has been reclaimed, it is removed from your account and store credit is attributed to your spend store. If the pledge is not limited in its nature, it may appear in your pledge buyback queue. The buyback tool is a list of reclaimed pledges you can buy back. Some of these pledges may include rare and limited run ships. The use of store credits requires possession of a credit buyback token, which is explained further below. Okay, this is just validating. Sometimes, even those of you who have played for 5-10 years, sometimes it's nice to be okay, I think I know this. I'm 99% sure I know this, but it's always fun to go back to the source of truth, right? Yes. So if you want to use store credits to pick your ship back up, you need to use a buyback token. Cool. The use of store credits requires possession of a credit buyback token, which is explained further below. While in general, reclaimed pledges should appear here, circumstances and such can change, and thus players should not use the buyback tool as sort of a storage for old pledges. That is very, very important. Okay, buyback token. If you hold a credit buyback token, you will be able to use store credit. For more information on store credit, see the guide using store credit. Tokens are attributed to a backer account every 3 months or every quarter and do not stack. So you're going to have 2 given in January. If you don't spend those 2, it's not like you're going to get 4, 6, and then 8. You're just going to keep 2 the entire year. So there you go. All right. Let's see here. I think that's really it Yeah, that's really it that I want to call out. So just know, if you wanted to get that pledge back, here's an example of when I have used it. So IAE comes around and you get your chance to get a Kraken, right? Just as an example. I have got both Krakens. Don't judge me. It's a judge-free zone. I have both the Kraken base and the Kraken privateer. I don't need both. Really, I don't need any of them. But now that I've secured my lifetime insurance and it's a limited hull and all that, I am kind of using it as storage. To be completely fair, I have melted the privateer. I still have the base because I don't want anything to happen to that guy. But the privateer, don't necessarily need. The bounty merchantman, don't necessarily need. So I've melted them and I'm using those store credits for like other ships and paints and other things that I can actually play with right now. And then when the time comes and we start seeing progress on the Kraken privateer and we start seeing progress on the bounty merchantman or the ships like that, then I will go ahead and call it back. And I can use store credit or I can just use new money. But like I've secured that ship. Right? I've secured the insurance that's attached to that ship. But you do, to the point of this article, you do run the risk of things changing and you're not able to obtain some of the information, right? Like insurances or I need to be very careful with like the limited hull ships. Like just be careful there. I'm doing it with the privateer. I did it with the Idris for the longest time. I had the Idris and like a year before it was released, I went ahead and just bought it back using store credit, using the tokens. And then when it came out, everything was fine. Everything was dandy. But you don't get like, you run the risk of losing some things. Just be careful. I don't know how many times I can repeat myself. So that's happening. Let's go ahead and wrap this up by going to the comment section and the polls. We're going to go 2 episodes ago just to make sure that we encapsulate everybody's responses. We're going to go quickly though, as I don't want to spend too much time with old information. But in episode 124, we asked, what are you most excited about for the 432 patch watch? Out of 10 responses, about 30% of you said the current planetary location mission updates. 30% said the FPS tractor beam updates, which is awesome, by the way. The snappiness of moving things with a tractor beam in this latest patch is amazing. Thank you, CIG. 20% of you say salvaging technique updates or salvaging technical updates, and then 20% of you say salvaging construction material updates. Let's go to the comments section. All right, open comments. We have 5 published comments. Here we go. Gallahan said, hey, love the podcast and the org. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. A salvage night for org night would be awesome. I've had a reclaimer for a while, but I've never been able to take it out the way it should be. It'll be interesting to see how the new salvage rework turns out. So last night's org night, we did what we call Soul Reaper. It's our own version of a game loop, which is heavy in salvaging. So come out, especially for like Soul Reaper. We got you. Still Wicker Beast writes, great show as always. I'm listening after CitizenCon because of how busy the weekend was, but it was amazing to be in Austin and to meet you and the other Soul Provisioners. The direct was pretty good, but not showing base building really hurt. It wasn't a total loss because we do at least get to see crafting tier 0.5. The next major step after the salvage crafting and Wicklow recipes. Next coming next month was a surprise, as I expected it would be at the very end of Q4 2025 or during H1 of next year. Absolutely. Floof Knight writes, had to wait till Tuesday to listen and will be watching CitizenCon Direct after. It's been hard staying offline to avoid any spoilers. Excited to see what was revealed, even if I'm a few days late. Gerdell writes, hey, I had a blast at the San Jose CitizenCon, but was a little underwhelmed by the CIG presentation. I'm excited for Nyx, but was really hoping to hear something about base building. Special shout out to Reese, Jacob, and Dan, who I met in San Jose, and I've now expanded my friends list on Discord. This is a great community, and I look forward to what the future holds. Zayak writes, you always ask us questions, but here's one for you. Which ship manufacturer would you like to see more of? For me, it's Mirai. I'm a huge fan of the Fury and Guardian lineups, mostly for their design. I only wish Mirai had its own announcer instead of the MISC ones. Also, did you feel CIG was more reasonable and realistic with their announcements this year compared to previous ones? Anyways, thanks for the podcast and happy Friday. All right, response time. Okay. I am in the minority when I say this, but I want to see more ships from Origin. I feel like they came out of the chute hot, right? They came out and they launched a lot of ships, like the G12 we still haven't seen yet. The 600i needs a rework. But these are very beautiful, beautiful ships. They are what I think a 2955 ship probably looks like. If we have Teslas in 2025 and we have very nice, luxurious, cars in 2025, I feel like Origin would be bigger in 2955. I want to see more of that sleek, beautiful LED lighting, like cosmetics. I do think that the Kruger Wolf, the L21 Wolf, I thought that's very sleek, modern. I love the lighting on it. It's like, it looks gorgeous. But I'm missing like that Origin aesthetic, the space yachts, right? So yeah, I think that's it for me. I like your Mirai. I think Mirai being like a specialized version, kind of like a Mustang GT, like a Shelby Mustang GT. Good Lord. Or a Mustang GT Cobra, which is a Shelby. I think like having those lines, like it's very fun. Like it's a fun addition to the verse. And Mirai brings that with the MISC lineup. So I think that's a good one. But yeah, I think I'm going to lean into the Origin series. CIG being more reasonable and realistic with their announcements. I mean, yes and no. I think it was necessary. It was necessary to be very black and white, cut and dry. Like, here's what's happening in the next couple of weeks and months. I think in the past they have maybe shown too much of their hand. Like we saw like base building, we saw orbital bases up in space, and like that's cool. But it'll be years, 3, 4, 5 years down the road before we see orbital space stations. So I do think it's good for like expectation management to keep things a little bit more near term. So I will say it's a good change, in my opinion. All right, let's get to the latest episode. There we go. Episode 125. This was last week's episode. Polls. Okay. Which CitizenCon 2955 reveal blew you away the most? All right. 7 votes. We had 42.9% say tactical strike groups, 100%. We had 28.6% say Nyx, which was Levski and the Van Duel, and 28.6% said Genesis. No one said crafting or instancing. Let's go to the comments. 7 published comments. Let's go. All right. Tasty Doom wrote me a poem. So Tasty Doom writes, Smuggler Sarah. I'm not doing this. So this is funny for a podcast. The S's are kind of like plosives in podcasting. So like you have to have a good screen that doesn't highlight the S's. And so Tasty Doom wrote me a freaking story that basically all starts with S's. So bear with me, forgive me for reading this, but I told you I would read comments. So here we go. Smuggler Sarah slipped silently through the smoky station, seeking salvation. Sparks showered, sirens screamed, and Sarah sprinted, sliding past scattered supplies. She spotted a ship. Sweet salvation, she said, smirking. Sudden shots shattered steel, space pirates. Whoa. Sudden shots shattered steel, space pirates. Sarah spun slinging smoke. Systems sparked, shields shimmered, and the ship soared. The station shook, then self-destructed. Sarah smiled, sipping smolts from the ship's stash. Sometimes stealing saves souls. So I'm sorry for any listener who had to put up with the S's, but very clever Tasty Doom. Clever. Tapeworm writes, I think Paladin is my new favorite ship in the game. Such a tank. Love the logic of how the interior is laid out. Cargo was icing on the cake. Exterior is great. Team Anvil. 100%. Here is Nectaleaf. Nektilfi. I don't know. I'm sorry. Correct me how to say your name. Naktilfi. Is there a reason Astropub is barely hearable, or is my speaker doing something wrong? I've already addressed that earlier in the podcast. Billy the Beast writes, I'm very happy with the Paladin and the Stinger. My dad and I was able to do a bunch of missions in the Paladin, and it was so epic. Great performer and an awesome looking ship. By far my all-time favorite multi-crew gunship, Anvil #1. The Stinger is my favorite heavy fighter ship, not for fighting, but its design and cockpit are phenomenal. Stinger's cockpit is my favorite cockpit in the game. Absolutely. Again, great cosmetics for sure. Groza. I think that's Groza. Groza, you need to change your username. Yeah. Only Groza uses the word Chads. And I think Groza's name still comes up as a series of numbers. So, all right. Great episode with great Chads for guests. I appreciate you. Thank you. Kevin Culp writes, I just got accepted into soulprovision.org, but don't have a way to access the Discord or anything like that. Not sure where else to contact you to reach out about this. So I thought I'd try here. Couple things. You can always email us at contact@beyondtheversehq.com. That'll go to me. It'll go to the board of directors. Somebody can respond if you email us, contact@beyondtheversehq. The way we handle Soul Provision org invites is you apply in Spectrum. Me and the board of directors will look at your application, just make sure you seem like a normal human being with a heartbeat and breath in your lungs. And then when we accept you, it's even in the template. It's when we say copy this template and paste it in your application, it even says one of us will send you a direct message here on Spectrum with the link to our Discord. So what usually happens is I get this message, which is fine. I'm not trying to call you out, but I get this message and it's the link has already been sent to you in your direct message in Spectrum, right? We want to kind of gate the onboarding experience. We don't want anybody to just be able to access Soul Provision. We're trying to protect the family here. So there is kind of a process. So you'll get that link in your direct messages on Spectrum. All right. Christian Oliver Cosmo Holm. Thank you for another great episode. Always enjoy hearing the deep discussions about the new things coming and hearing involving your listener base to the episode. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, thank you for being here along the ride. It's been a good year. We got a couple more episodes left to really wrap out 2025, 2955. Guys, we're weeks away from having our third system and IAE. IAE is undoubtedly one of the most favorite times in the verse. It's a celebration. Every ship in the game will be flyable. That is flyable. There'll be some reveals. We'll get the Perseus, maybe some more insights on the galaxy. It is an exciting time. And stay tuned here on the Beyond the Verse podcast for your latest news, reviews, and analysis for those events and things coming up. Cannot wait. We also have a murder mystery going on in the next couple of weeks. That'll be a bonus episode here on the podcast. So much happening. Can't wait to share it with you. Can't wait to experience it with each one of you listeners and viewers. All right. If you want to know more information about the podcast or our in-game organization called Soul Provision, you can do so at beyondtheversehq.com or soulprovision.com. Email us at contact@beyondtheversehq. Wow. Contact@beyondtheversehq.com. We do have our philanthropy going on for Extra Life. So if you want to give to children's hospitals, you can do so at that website, beyondtheversehq.com/give. 100% pass through directly to Extra Life. We don't see any of the money, so feel free to do so. What else? I think that's it. Guys, I hope this finds you well. Safe travels as you traverse beyond the verse. Take care.